Attention! If you or a loved one were recently exposed to Crunchyroll, you may be entitled to financial compensation. I swear this isn't just another one of my stupid memes, guys. Okay, so check this out. On September 15th, Crunchyroll, as well as Sony of course, reached a settlement in a class action lawsuit between them and the individuals listed here. God bless them. This settlement left Crunchyroll liable to pay users in the United States approximately, yes, $30.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
More details on exactly who's eligible and how to submit a claim form near the end. The lawsuit alleged that Crunchyroll had violated what is known as the United States Video Privacy Protection Act, selling users' personal information to Facebook and other third parties. Crunchyroll and Sony of course denied the claim, but decided in favor of a settlement to, quote, avoid the uncertainties and expenses associated with continuing the case. Now if you ask me, and this is clearly speculation, but if you ask me, that's basically lawyer speak for, we'd rather just pay $16 million in escrow than have anyone snooping around our business any longer. Yes, you heard that right, that's $16 million. So don't think that this is a totally meaningless fine, even if Sony is a $100 billion company. Now obviously, none of this is surprising. It's nothing new to hear that big tech companies are mining your data and selling it out to third parties. They just usually get away with it. I'm gonna personally argue that everyone should, as soon as possible, take this opportunity to collect what is owed. It's free money of course, but more importantly, even if it's little more than a pinprick for Sony, given this unique opportunity, we should send the strongest signal we can muster that we do indeed care about these shady business practices and that we are paying attention. Funny enough, like a day after this story broke online, Crunchyroll made a pretty big announcement. They will be launching a free, aka ad-supported, 24-hour anime channel. This channel will feature older anime dubbed in English. I'll admit, nostalgia-fueled or not, I do actually think this was pretty interesting. However, and maybe I'm just being conspiracy happy, but it's awfully convenient of them to drop this announcement within 48 hours of the lawsuit story breaking out on the internet.
Coincidence? I think not!
Anyway, we must remain vigilant, stay focused, and get our approximately $30. On to the part that you're actually probably interested in. I received one of the emails related to the case myself, as I am ashamed to admit that I am indeed currently subscribed to the atrocity of a streaming service that is known as Crunchyroll. It states that settlement class members include, and I quote, all persons in the United States who, from September 8th, 2020 to September 20th, 2023, 1. were registered users of an online website, mobile app, or any video-on-demand service or app owned, controlled, and or operated by Crunchyroll, and 2. who viewed videos on an online website, mobile app, or any video-on-demand service or app owned, controlled, and or operated by Crunchyroll. As I've heard others mention, this language doesn't necessarily distinguish paid members from free members, but don't quote me on that. If you are one of those, you should have one of these emails in the address associated with your Crunchyroll account. Make sure to check your spam folder. You'll need your class member ID located at the top of the email if you wish to submit a claim for your approximately $30. In order to receive your payment, you must submit a claim form no later than December 12th, 2023. I will of course leave all of the relevant links I have below. If you need any help, drop a comment. I'll definitely be submitting a claim myself in the coming days, and hopefully other commenters will be helpful as well.
You serious?
Anyway, I'll eventually be dropping some videos discussing at length my extensive personal issues with Crunchyroll, but for now, I'll just give you a highly condensed version of my Crunchyroll rant, so that you have the minimal context to my issues with them. I'd like to start by extending an olive branch and saying, I do understand why you might default to using Crunchyroll regardless of my personal issues. It's the simple, affordable, worry-free way to support the industry without having to think about it too much, or buy a bunch of merch you might not actually even want. You get access to most hot new shows in decent quality, and when you open the service, you're almost immediately recommended something that you'll probably be willing to watch.
But I'm going to explain why that makes you a simp and a cuck from other people's perspective.
Most of my issues are related to the actual viewing experience. This is something people never seem to talk about. Everyone is too busy measuring library sizes and show availability, something which I personally find almost completely irrelevant. Piracy will always win out in this criteria, and many shows are only available in their original formats or only available period through piracy or overpriced out-of-print DVDs. What I am interested in is a platform with a viewing experience as convenient, as stable, and as feature-rich as many anime fans like to pretend that Crunchyroll is. What I want is a viewing experience that isn't completely inferior in depth of features to simply streaming one of the better legal sites in a free third-party casting browser. And Crunchyroll ain't it. Not the website, not the app, and not the casting experience. Crunchyroll is still missing basic features, many of which free websites were expected to have a decade ago. No custom playback speeds, no custom resolution while casting, no subs with dubs. Search often only works for English terms. There is no traditional search page and therefore no sorting or filtering. They do everything in their power to stop you from screen capping or screenshotting, and once again, specifically while casting, the entirely useless episode overlays never time out after you pause, so you can't simply pause and look at, you know,
The screen you pause to look at!
Imagine for a moment, if you will, pausing a show without permanently covering up the subtitles and darkening the entire screen. I guess I didn't think of that. Is this that streamlined convenience everyone's always talking about? I'm not a fan. Look, I get it. You just want to open a simple app and immediately have something shown to you that an algorithm knows you'll be willing to watch. It's simple. You want to support the industry, but you don't want to have to think about it very much. And you don't want expensive plastic cases and merch cluttering up your room. It's completely 100% understandable. Crunchyroll has the most money, so they get the most licenses for hot new shows and VTuber marketing campaigns. I just don't know that I value all that very much when it's presented through a viewing experience which, barring video quality, is inferior to every alternative available. I find myself in a strange position. I buy merch, I buy manga, I buy anime. I'm even subscribed to both Crunchyroll and HIDIVE, but I seldom stream shows on these official sites because I think it's basically the worst way to experience anime, unless all you want is an open app and click the show that pops up kind of experience. But I like my options and having full control of my own viewing experience. We've been conditioned by streaming companies to believe that bare-bones players with no features and highly controlled viewing environments are acceptable, even preferable. They're not. I know, I hate it when people use this phrase, but for heaven's sake, it's 2023, and Crunchyroll has been around for years. They can afford to add some actual features, and at least try to make the viewing experience almost comparable to the many superior alternatives. I often find myself wondering, is any of the money I'm putting into Crunchyroll invested into developing a platform I would actually keyword prefer to watch any given anime on? Or is everything that isn't invested into the anime industry just dumped into marketing and this ridiculous pipe dream of Sony owning an infinite library of anime? Even if they literally had all of the anime, I would still find myself wanting to go watch shows elsewhere, because watching anime on Crunchyroll is a poor, shallow, on-rails experience if you've ever invested the time into trying any of the countless alternatives. The second and painfully obvious question this so frequently has me asking is, why can't companies like Crunchyroll literally just look at what unofficial sites and apps are doing better than them and implement new options and features for those of us who don't just want a bare bones, streamlined experience? Because there are plenty of clear advantages to pirate sites and other alternatives, many of which have nothing to do with the infinite supply of anime or the lack of fees. Why is this so difficult? Many people will tell you these missing features and issues are all due to licensing laws, but many examples of the same anime hosted on YouTube don't have all of these issues, and HIDIVE themselves have some of the features Crunchyroll doesn't. That's impossible! The same features many still say are missing thanks to said licensing issues. Do not take people who make this argument seriously, unless they're specifically referring to the actual footage licensed, aka censorship, ghosting and dimming, etc. Those are actually determined by the footage that is licensed to them, something which they have very little control over. Production committees, almost exclusively made up of large Japanese companies, including broadcasters and merchandisers, but typically excluding even the animation studios, set the rules for these license agreements. I'll have to go into the production committee system in further detail at a later date, but suffice it to say that as the primary investors in anime production, they tend to hold all the cards in decision making of this sort. That's just how the anime industry works currently. Anyway, the other issues have nothing to do with legalities. The interface is also just an abomination across the board, but let's not drag this out. I could go on for an hour about how pathetic the viewing experience on Crunchyroll is, but that's a video for another day. However, coming right up, hot off the editing bay, are my first impressions of Frieren Beyond Journey's End, as well as an extensively researched piece on ghosting and dimming, a highly misunderstood topic on the internet. Unlike other videos I've foolishly announced in the past, these ones are already basically done.
Please be excited. See you soon. Bye.